Japan is globally recognized for a culture that reliably produces extreme discipline, long-term health, and environments of deep aesthetic peace. When Western self-improvement culture encounters this, the instinct is to capture all of it. We see lists titled 50 Japanese Habits for a Better Life, which include waking up before sunrise, drinking matcha, meditating, and intense home organization, and we try to adopt every single one starting Monday morning. Integrating 50 distinct new daily habits demands a level of cognitive bandwidth and raw willpower that exceeds human capacity. By attempting to track everything from sunrise wake-up times to specific tea rituals simultaneously, the brain's executive function quickly runs out of fuel. This creates a literal bottleneck in daily decision-making. The system chokes under the volume of rules, leading to inevitable burnout. To actually benefit, we must throw out the 50-step lists and filter these practices through an effort to impact matrix to identify a few keystone inputs. Achieving the clarity of the Japanese lifestyle comes down to strategic curation, choosing fewer, heavier actions to avoid the burnout trap. The first strategic category is environmental architecture. These are habits that require minimal ongoing effort throughout the day, but demand absolute strict discipline during short transitions. This chart maps our options. Down here in the low-effort, high-impact zone, we outsource our willpower to our physical surroundings. The required inputs are straightforward: taking off your shoes the second you cross the threshold, making the bed immediately when your feet hit the floor, and washing the dishes the exact moment a meal ends. Notice the physical boundary in this entranceway. The outdoor world and its dirt is intentionally stopped right at the edge of the living space. Enforcing these micro-actions stops odor, grime, and visual clutter from accumulating. That physical order directly communicates with your nervous system, lowering daily cortisol levels. This is the payoff: a bright, deeply minimal room that feels spacious and quiet. By accepting 5 minutes of upfront annoyance during your daily transitions, you purchase hours of passive mental clarity. From there, we move to a category that requires a much heavier lift: physiological overhauls. These routines create deep daily friction, but deliver maximum systemic biological results. Looking back at our matrix, this places us firmly in the top right quadrant. The dietary inputs here are demanding. You cut out ultra-processed foods entirely, transitioning to portion-controlled, home-cooked meals heavily reliant on omega-3s from fish and fermented foods like natto and kimchi. Look at this setup. Instead of one massive plate, the meal is divided into multiple small portions, forcing a slower, deliberate pace of eating. Combining this diet with a regulated sleep schedule targets health at the source, stabilizing the gut microbiome, smoothing out energy cycles, and supporting the immune system. The trade-off is significant. Eating and living this way requires active time investment every single day for meal planning, grocery shopping, and hands-on preparation. It also introduces social friction. Maintaining this routine often means turning down the hyper-convenience of app delivery and skipping late-night social events to protect your sleep window. You gain a heavily optimized biological system, provided you are willing to sacrifice modern, frictionless convenience to get it. Our final two categories sit in the middle of our matrix: analog integration and consumption friction. They require medium effort, but compound heavily over the long term. Analog integration means replacing digital consumption with physical habits. That means reading physical materials on public transit, keeping a daily handwritten journal to map out your goals, and forcing yourself into periods of quiet reflection. Look closely at these commuters. Inside a crowded train car, they are completely anchored to physical books and broadsheets, locking out the noise around them. Then there is consumption friction. This is the practice of purposely pausing before any impulse buy, choosing to spend more upfront for high-quality, simple designs, and then meticulously repairing those items so they last for years. Combining these two categories yields powerful results. You enhance your memory and neuroplasticity through active learning, eliminate the exhaustion of decision fatigue, and secure major financial and environmental savings. Enduring the initial discomfort of boredom and actively resisting the quick dopamine hit of retail gratification builds immense cognitive and financial resilience. Leveraging the Japanese lifestyle is less about total cultural immersion and more about identifying the specific type of friction your current routine is missing. To figure out which path makes sense, we can run this through a decision tree based on your constraints. If you are the time-poor profile, meaning you are overwhelmed by work or family obligations, ignore massive dietary overhauls. Focus entirely on environmental architecture. The trade-off is simple. You trade a few minutes of daily annoyance washing dishes and making the bed to permanently stabilize your physical living space. If you are the performance optimizer, meaning you have baseline control of your schedule and want serious physical and mental gains, focus on the physiological and analog habits. Your trade-off is steeper. You must sacrifice digital convenience and junk dopamine in exchange for elite focus and metabolic health. Finally, if you are the pragmatist looking to protect your wallet and your peace of mind, lean heavily into consumption friction. You trade fleeting retail highs for a clutter-free home and compounding financial stability. Do not attempt to be perfectly Japanese. Choose just one quadrant to master, accept the specific trade-off it requires, and allow the compounding outcomes to do the work.